Shalom, and you're now locked in here at Israelite Talk TV, where you get nothing but the raw and the real whenever I'm in front of the camera. So make sure y'all show the page some love, like, subscribe, and share.
Shalom, and welcome back to another episode here at Israelite Talk TV, one of the #1 platforms where you don't get any paid media. Okay, thank you. Now, today, family, we're going to be continuing our coverage on the Hamas and the Israeli showdown that's taking place over there in the Promised Land. And in today's update, we're going to be going into what I call the war room, right? And we're going to be looking at the things that's going on in this war. And I'm going to be explaining to you, just as the title brings out, how Hamas will win this war. And as I have already told you and explained to you, Hamas has already won this war, okay, on so many different fronts, right? The first thing is that they was able to breach security and go in there and overrun a battle division. One division they ran over, took over, which the Hamas leader said that Benjamin Netanyahu had failed. He had, you know what I'm saying, military wise, right? So they was able to breach security into Israel, right? Now, you guys have to understand that a lot of places in Israel, so it's not, even though we see what's going on down in Gaza with the Palestinians, a lot of these Jewish converts that's in the land are being evacuated from a lot of these different towns and stuff, that they were living in because of the constant rockets that's coming in. They have to evacuate all these different towns. So you have a lot of people that's living in tents and stuff in various different places. Some of those people, a lot of them have, I ain't gonna say a lot of them do have dual citizenship from the states the countries that they came from. Because you got to remember that when they negotiated this deal down in Palestine in 1917, when World War II kicked off and they began to start bringing the Jewish converts out of Germany and was bringing them into Palestine, you got to understand that at this point, a lot of people had come out of Germany. It was in a lot of these different countries around the world. So a lot of these people in what is known today as modern day Israel have dual citizenship. Okay, so they can come and go as they please and go back to the countries that they came from, or they can stay out there, right? Okay, so let's get into this, right? Overnight, there's been a lot of stuff that's been going on, right? We had the United States striking a base in Syria, okay, which is supposed to have been Iranian proxy facilities or whatever, what have you. But they struck a couple facilities last night, okay, and this came after the speech that the Tehran PM Prime Minister spoke here yesterday in the United States, and we're going to get into that statement that he made, because he let his hang, you know what I'm saying, in America. You know what I'm saying? Checked America right here in American soil and let them know, like, we gonna get into that, right? I'm like, man, this stuff is getting serious, right? We also, right, got to keep an eye on Egypt, because last night the Israelis hit a hospital, right, in Egypt, and it injured some people over there, right? So according to Egypt, they're going to respond back, when they're going to probably do an investigation, and then at some point they're going to respond back. So it sounds like Egypt is getting drugged into this thing, right? Okay. So the first thing that we want to do as we begin to get into this thing, right, is let me get my guy added to the queue real quick. And okay. All right, so family, so what we're going to, right? This is the Iranian prime minister, right? He was at the UN yesterday, right? And listen to what he had to say about America. Oh my goodness.
We recommend the United States to work for peace and security, not war against people, children, and women. Instead of sending rockets, tanks, and bombs to be used against Gaza, United States should stop supporting genocide in Gaza and Palestine. Mr. President, the history of Iranian civilization
Listen to this. He's getting ready to get into it, right?
We have always supported peace and security. But today in New York and the United Nations, I say frankly to the American statesmen who are now managing the genocide in Palestine that we do not welcome to expansion of the war in the region. But I warn, if the genocide in Gaza continues, they will not be spared from this fire. It is our home, and West Asia is our region. We do not compromise with any party on any side, and we have no reservation when it comes to our home's security. The genocide in Gaza must...
Family. He let them hang, man. Up there in New York at the UN, he let them know. He said, man, if y'all don't stop, you know what I'm saying, what's going on in there, nobody is going to be spared, including the USA. You know what I'm saying? Including the United States. And he's in the United States, telling the United States, y'all get out there if y'all want to, man. We gonna cook y'all for breakfast, man. So family, this stuff is getting serious, right? So right after this, overnight, they struck some Iranian facilities in Syria last night, right? Okay. Now, let's jump on over here to Hamas, right? Because Hamas and them, they still rocking and rolling. Hamas and them still rocking and rolling. They ain't going nowhere. Okay. Now, let's get Hamas going. And of course, we're gonna go back to the crux, you know what I'm saying? And we'll be picking this story up, right? Okay. So it brings out Hamas fire heavy rocket barrages at Israel overnight, right? Went crazy over there last night, right? You know what I'm saying? Now check it out, right? Okay. It says so U.S. strikes targets in Syria, and now they're sending more troops out to the Middle East. Okay. Okay, now listen, family. This is what I was talking about, right? So last night, missiles hit an Egyptian resort, town near the Israeli border, right? Okay. Now listen to this, family. Sirens was heard in Tel Aviv and central Israel as Hamas launched a heavy rocket barrage overnight. See them boys, see Hamas and them, the Goonies, they ain't messing around, man. They saying, come on with it. We ain't ducking no wreck. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, y'all out here flattening, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all got the aircraft carriers, you know, the aircrafts and things like that. You know, Hamas ain't got that. Hamas working underground. You know what I'm saying? And they tearing Tel Aviv up. They tearing Israel up, man. You know, on all sides. Okay. You got people that's got to evacuate. And here we go. We almost a month in and they still popping that thing, man. Okay. Hamas saying that they not going at gunpoint. And this is what happened when you oppress a people. Okay. For so long, eventually, this is what it resorts to, right? Okay. Let's keep going here. Now, listen to this, family. According to the Times of Israel, rockets from Gaza hit the areas of Rishon LeZion, Petah Tikva, Bat Yam, if I'm saying that correctly, and Rosh Haim near Tel Aviv. So Hamas ain't playing, you know what I'm saying? And it sounds like Iron Dome ain't doing too much of a good job out there because Hamas is still getting them through, man. Oh, yeah. Look at that, man. They ain't messing around, man. You know what I'm saying? They flattening buildings in Gaza and Hamas, they busting back, man. Okay. Now listen to this. Hamas claimed that it struck areas around Tel Aviv in response to the Israeli crimes against the civilians in Gaza. So, family, this thing is heating up, man. Like it ain't like it's getting serious out here, right? Okay, now what I want to do is we're gonna head into the situation room real quick, right? And we're gonna talk tactics for a little bit, right? Now, what I want to do is we got Colonel Douglas McGregor in the building, right? Okay. He's an expert. He's a colonel. He's been around, you know what I'm saying? He's an expert on the system, and it sounds like he's the only one that's really talking with sense. You got these people out here that want to, because see, the thing that you have to understand about these Europeans, they don't never ever want to take the bottom. They don't never want to let anybody get off on them. They always have to get out, and they got to be on top. So whenever a situation like this happen where they get drew down on, then they got to get the upper hand. This is why they don't want to have a ceasefire. No, we got to go in there and we got to get some blood. Okay, what they practice is an eye for an eye, while they teach you this Christian garbage and want you to turn the other cheek and have love for everybody. This is to make the people in the nation weak, and now they're in a problem because the military, a lot of these people don't want to go to war and fight because they just want to turn the other cheek. You know what I'm saying? So now they're in the problem. Now they having a problem because you got to understand the Goonies. They over there starving, they hungry, they got a finesse to do this and that. You know what I'm saying? They coming in like, where it's at? They said the Goonies. Listen, I was listening to your boy Jonathan, the guy that always speak for the IDF, man. He's funny, man. It's like he's terrified of Hamas, man. But he's funny. He's comical to me, right? But at any rate, he was speaking about how the Goonies went in and after they got done putting in work, they sat down at the table and ate a meal. You know what I'm saying? Just like Yahoo did when he got rid of Jezebel, right? Say he sat down and took a meal. This is what Hamas did. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. So I'm just like, oh my goodness. You know what I'm saying? But now let's get into the situation room and let's let Colonel Douglas McGregor break down the optics.
To knock Iran out of the oil business. Iran, if you escalate this war, we're coming for you.
Are you effectively poised to declare war on Iran? That's very strong language.
I am poised to use military force to destroy the source of funding for Hamas and Hezbollah.
No, that's Lindsey Graham. A few others in the Republican Party will be that open about.
Now listen to what the colonel finna say.
But very few disagree with him. Certainly not in private. They agree. So what would war with Iran mean? Well, it's hard to know because virtually no one who's talking about it in public is operating from a deep interest in America's interest. Is this good for us or is it not? Former Colonel Douglas McGregor is the CEO of Our Country, Our Choice, and one of the first people we turn to for analysis of events like this because he is interested in what happens to the United States. He joins us now. Doug, thank you for coming on. Do you think that we are moving toward war with Iran?
Yes, I do.
Stuck poop can make thin women feel plus-sized. To have the best poop of your life, you don't need fiber.
And it looks like the chosen destination is indeed Armageddon. There doesn't seem to be any real appreciation for the implications for us and frankly for Europe and the world, as well as the Middle East, of such action. You know, take for an example, just on the economic side, about 20% of the world's oil passes through the Straits of Hormuz every month. Probably 25% of liquefied natural gas. And you're talking about shutting down 2 to 3 million barrels a day of oil from Iran. This entire region is involved in the war. This is not an Iranian monopoly by any stretch of the imagination. But the point is that when we're looking at 10-year Treasury yields up over 5%, and people are increasingly convinced that the Fed has lost control, the economic side of the house is catastrophe. Then when you look at the military side, you have to look at the arsenal of missiles that Iran possesses, and they can reach out 1,200 miles with great precision, very high explosive conventional warheads that would do enormous damage, destroying whole city blocks in places like Haifa, Tel Aviv, even Jerusalem, though I doubt they would attack Jerusalem. The bottom line.
So, family, you hear what he said? He's letting us know that they talking about running in out here on Iran. He letting you know that Iran can really touch their taco. You know what I'm saying? Like Iran them can really tear Jerusalem up. They had already told them this already, right? Now we got the colonel coming out and backing this up. They just capping. They don't want it with Iran like that, man. They don't. This is gonna get crucial. Listen what the colonel's saying.
Is that we need to think this through, and everyone right now is emoting. There is no thinking anywhere, as far as I can tell. The only possible exception may be, amazingly enough, Mr. Erdogan in Turkey, who came out this morning and indicated he was willing to mediate the dispute between Israel and Hamas. Whether or not anyone in Washington or Israel is interested in talking, I don't know. But if we could sideline Turkey and keep Turkey out of the fight, that would ultimately help Israel enormously.
So what would happen to the United States if we followed Senator Graham's advice and just began bombing critical infrastructure in Iran? Like what would happen then?
Well, all of the bases that we have in Iraq and Syria, unfortunately, where we still have over 1,000 Americans, all of those would be targeted. And this time, they would target them accurately, and this destruction would be wholesale. I would expect trouble here at home and in the United States.
So, family, did you hear that? So what the colonel was saying here is that basically the attacks that we've been hearing about on the U.S. bases, okay, because they've been attacked over in Iraq and they've been attacked in Syria. So what he's telling us is that they kind of just been letting them know, like, listen, man, y'all. But he's saying that if it go down, they would target those bases accurately and get them on up out the way. And you guys got to understand that there's been a lot of military personnel over there that has been injured. Some have even died. Some have even died in these attacks on American bases out there. So America's trying to keep a lot of this stuff under the rug and quiet, but you got people over there that's getting towed up, man, messing around. So this is what the colonel's saying, like, hey, if it really go down, then they gonna get them up out of there. They're gonna be dead meat. Okay.
It's because of the open border. Hezbollah has a very large operation in Mexico. There are no doubt many, many, many Hezbollah agents inside the United States. We can only begin to imagine the kind of trouble they could cause. The missile and space program in Iran is very, very advanced, as is their cyber warfare capability. All of these things would be brought to bear against us. But what's most important, I think, for Americans to understand is if we attack Iran on the basis of Hezbollah's alleged willingness to attack Israel if Israel invades Gaza, we will end up in a fight with Russia. Russia will not sit by quietly and watch Iran destroyed by the United States air and naval power in the region. And once Russia enters this, it becomes much more than just a local conflict, maybe more than just a regional war.
Now, family, let's pause that for a minute, right? Okay, because what I want you guys to understand is that Russia, okay, knows that America is aiding and abetting Ukraine, sending all these missiles, and Russia just reported how they just shot down those missiles that the United States had given to the Ukrainians, basically to fire against them, right? So Russia is the hidden hand in this, right? Okay, allegedly, this is my thoughts, right? Because they got backdoored by the United States, okay? Because you guys got to understand that the United States was trying to send all this stuff to the Ukrainian border. Putin like, no, that ain't finna go down. So now that they're helping them and basically going against Putin, you got to know that Putin is going to back up Iran. Okay. And of course, China going to back them up too. You know what I'm saying? One of the things I want to show you guys real quick, right? Okay. Is that, and let me get this pulled up, right? So America and Russia and all of these people had, they had this treaty that was going on with the nuclear weapons, right? And so basically how it was set up is that America they pretty much bagged out the treaty, right? Basically meaning they can use our nuclear weapons here in America whenever they want to use them. So what Russia is saying is, okay, since America don't want to, sign, basically lock back into the treaty, whatever, we pulling up out of that. You know what I'm saying? And so Putin, a couple of days ago, just did a nuclear test, right? Because before they would do according to this treaty, they would have to do nuclear testing underground. So when you hear about all of these earthquakes and stuff that's going on, you heard about CERN and things like that. You got to understand that them testing nuclear weapons and stuff underground and stuff is also disturbing the earth. Okay, we just saw what just happened in I want to say that was in Afghanistan where they had the big earthquake out there that killed a lot of people out there. So these people are testing nuclear weapons and it's disturbing the earth and stuff, right? But check out what Putin just did, right?
A Yars intercontinental ballistic missile was launched from a spaceport in northwest Russia. Further south, almost at the horizon, a submarine launched a missile simultaneously. It was a Sineva ballistic missile fired from a Tula strategic submarine. That wasn't all. 2 Tu-95MS long-range strategic bombers were also seen taking off. They reportedly test-fired air-launched cruise missiles. What do these things have in common? They're all Russian strategic assets capable of firing nuclear missiles. Russia has the world's largest nuclear arsenal.
Okay, so right there, right? So we see right there how Russia basically, you know how they cleaning their guns and stuff. Hey, man, let's make sure this stuff's still working, man. Let's go on. Yeah, we're gonna do a land, air, and sea drill, and they letting them know like, man, we on deck. We locked and loaded. We ready for whatever. Let's go on do it right now. Okay. With that being said, last week, right? America, okay, check it out, right? So it says, I was after Russia revoked the global test ban. The U.S. conducts a nuclear test in Nevada. Okay. Y'all got to be careful out there in Nevada, man. You got to understand, right? They have these military bases in the United States and they have them in a lot of these mountain regions because you got to understand, like you look at somewhere like Nevada, Utah, we heard of the Area 51s and stuff like that, but you got to understand that America, if you're in a desert, it's hard for somebody really to invade you and really sneak up on you in a desert because there's nothing out there. When you get into the cities and urban places where, you know what I'm saying, like it's going to be hard to really keep up with people. But in places like that, you just can't come out. You just can't access that place just like, you know what I'm saying? So this is why in a lot of these places where you go into like even in Nevada, you might see like Vegas might be a place where everybody at, but you got other spots where it's just all desert and it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like they got stuff that's set up out there where they tested and got military stuff going on because it's easy to hit an open target. Like if it's nothing to hide behind and everything's open, they can get at you. But anyway, America testing they stuff too, right? Okay. So they withdraw from the nuclear test ban. So now it's over with. Okay, y'all bring y'all stuff. We got our stuff, and they saying that Russia has a bigger arsenal. Okay, now let's get back over here to the colonel, right?
We haven't thought this through. We need to do that, and I doubt seriously at that point that the Turks would be able to stay out. The Turks are Sunni Muslims. They are the de facto leaders of the Sunni Muslim world. They have the largest armed forces in the region. They are in close proximity to Israel. They could move forces south through Syria very rapidly. And I'm sure Bashar al-Assad, assuming he even survives the opening of this campaign, would not obstruct them.
So what he's saying is Erdogan could send the Goonies and they would move so fast through Syria, he wouldn't be able to do nothing with them. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to understand, Turkey got one of the biggest militaries out there. You know what I'm saying? So they don't, and you hear how Turkey talking. They letting them know, like, listen, man, we will stand on this business. Y'all better stop killing innocent people down there. Okay. But the colonel was breaking it down perfectly. Okay. Let's keep mobbing.
So many questions, but just to back up one click, you described Iran's missile arsenal. But Iran is a country that's been the subject of a very intense sanction regime from the United States, increased by the last president, Donald Trump. But for a long time, how is Iran still such a powerful country militarily given those sanctions? It sounds like maybe they didn't work.
Oh, no, I think that's an important point, Tucker, and you're absolutely right. We place so much value on these sanctions and assume that they have this profound impact. Normally, sanctions harm the population in terms of lowering its standard of living, making life more difficult for the everyday citizen, but it doesn't fundamentally alter the policy or the goals and objectives of the government. And this is something that I don't think we understand. The same thing is true for Hamas and Gaza. You know, you want to go after Hamas. You want to destroy it. I think everyone with a sound mind is interested in the destruction of Hamas. But do you want to kill hundreds of thousands of people in order to get at Hamas? That's the question. We have the same problem in Iran. Our sanctions have not harmed the regime's ability to develop and build very, very complex and sophisticated missiles. These missiles are very accurate. There are hundreds, if not thousands. And the long-range missiles, the 1,200-mile range theater ballistic missiles, are a very serious threat to us in the region and to Israel. And the sanctions have had no impact there. If anything, the Iranians have pulled together the best.
Hey, and your boy Lindsey Graham is talking about running up on the Goonies, man. Hey, we gonna
human capital in their country, the best engineers, the best thinkers, and put them to work primarily on missile technology and on cyber warfare. And that's where we stand right now. We have to expect the worst as a result if we strike Iran.
How is the U.S. military, do you think, having spent your life in it, leading troops in combat and at the Pentagon?
America is on the cusp of the greatest power outage in American history, but the mainstream media
position to respond to war with Iran right now? Are we in a strong position or not, in your view?
No, I don't think we're in a strong position. I think we're probably at the weakest point in our recent history. I think you've got to look at the realities of new weapon systems, new capabilities. The United States Navy, if it's going to preserve its capability at sea, is probably going to be compelled to operate somewheres north and west of Sicily. If it comes within closer range, then it falls into this envelope where the Iranians can strike it. And as I said before, we have to assume the Russians will come into this. Once you move into the Eastern Mediterranean, you are vulnerable to the Kinshal missiles and other missiles, cruise missiles and hypersonic missiles that the Russians have. This makes it very difficult to fly strikes in support of the Israeli Defense Force against Hezbollah, because now you're flying a very long distance. You deliver your ordnance, you have to land in Israel in order to refuel. Israel is going to operate under a hail, if not a rainstorm, of missiles and rockets, making it very, very dangerous to do so. So our naval power...
Family, y'all, you guys can go watch the rest of this interview. This is a good interview that was done with Carson Tucker and Colonel Douglas McGregor. He letting them know, like, man, y'all capping. How y'all gonna land in Israel? And it's gonna be a hail of missiles coming in. That mug gonna be on fire. You ain't gonna be able to land in there. It's gonna be coming from everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And you know, if it go down, that the rest of the region gonna ride because they riding for the cause. This about innocent people that y'all taking out down there. You know what I'm saying? So what they saying is make your move your best move. You know what I'm saying? But go check it out though. The colonel breaking it down. Like, man, they don't really want that smoke like that, man. They flexing, man. And Iran know that. This is why you had the Goonie right here in New York letting them know, like, man, y'all get into this. It's a wrap. Now we're gonna look at one more video, and then I'm gonna wrap this up, right? Okay. This is the last video that we're going to look at, and I want you guys to listen to this, right? And this is what I want to end on, right? Listen, this is an ex-soldier, an ex-Israeli soldier, right? Let me get it pulled up. This is an ex-Israeli soldier, right? And I want you guys to listen to what he has to say concerning this war, right?
Threats to Israeli soldiers.
I mean, it's already multiple orders of magnitude worse. I mean, you know, something like 3 times as many Palestinians have already been killed through these bombing campaigns as there were killed in the entire 2014 war, and we haven't even began the ground invasion. Hamas is stronger. That's just a fact. Hamas is stronger, even though we fought them, and I believed during that fighting and with our sacrifice and all the destruction that we wrought in Gaza, that we had dealt them a decisive blow. But that was just not true.
Is it possible, do you think, to wipe out Hamas? The Israeli government has said after this appalling terror attack, we will wipe out Hamas. Is that possible?
I think the only way, I think this government is incapable of doing it unless there is a dramatic, axiomatic shift in our approach towards Palestinians.
So family, this is an ex-Israeli soldier. This guy is Jewish, okay? So I wonder what they're going to call him. They're going to call him anti-Semitic or whatever the case. I don't know, okay? But at any rate, he letting you know they ain't capable of destroying Hamas. And logical sense tells you this because you sitting over here with over 500,000 soldiers, plus the strength and the power of the United States over here with all of this stuff they got over there, okay? And you're telling me, right? And let me get this pulled up, right? Because I wanted you guys to just kind of see this, right? Let's see. This is all of the stuff that the U.S. has out there, right, already. They got the Gerald Ford out there, Normandy, Thomas, a Destroyer, Rampage, Cardinal, Roosevelt. They have F-15s, F-16, A-10 squadrons, fighter aircraft, newly deployed, USS Dwight Eisenhower, the Philippine Sea Cruiser, U.S., they got all of this stuff out there, right? And you telling me that they still ain't went ahead and got Hamas yet? I told y'all that they scared to death. And if you listen and look at his countenance, he don't look like he want no smoke. You can't beat them. You can't beat Hamas, man. Now listen to this, right? Because this is what I want you guys to listen to. And this is one of the most critical points, man, of this whole thing. And this is what I want people to understand, right? Listen to this.
Approach towards Palestinians, they can just be controlled. We can just keep them indefinitely under military occupation, deny them rights, deny them freedoms, the same ones that we cherish for ourselves, they don't have. And it's not about security, it's about ideology. We're ideologically committed to controlling the entire land of Israel exclusively for the Jewish people. And
but there will be many Israelis who simply want.
So family, did you hear what he just said? So you're telling me that these people are supposed to be the people of the book, but yet they're denying the Palestinians all of this stuff and all these injustices they're committing. How can you be the people of the book? Zephaniah 3:13. Okay. How does this fit? They ain't went under no fire. They're not treating people righteously and dealing with people righteously. They being crooked and corrupt, and everywhere they go, they stir up stuff from wherever they at, they got trouble going on. You know what I'm saying? Listen to this guy.
Revenge on Hamas for this hideous attack.
That will only strengthen them, even if we dismantle and are able to defeat the physical terrorist organization Hamas. We will be strengthening the idea of violent resistance, because the only way to defeat the idea of violent resistance is to create an alternative and to work towards an alternative, one that our government is fundamentally opposed to. So this government can't defeat Hamas.
So you think it will, in effect, radicalize another generation of young Palestinians?
Of course. We're just killing them, and we don't provide any alternative. We're keeping them under a debilitating siege. They're running out of fuel. They're running out of drinking water. What do you think that, Hamas is a terrorist organization. They've already proven that they can murder babies, and we're saying it's on them to save the lives of the Palestinian infants in the NICU in the hospital. It's up to them. You think they care? They just murdered babies, and we're denying that we're creating this horrific human conditions. What do you think the people in Gaza are going to think about us after what we're doing now? We have to create an alternative. If we want to defeat Hamas, we have to turn the Palestinian public against them.
But how do you do that? In the light of the terror attack, how do you do that? What is the process? Where is the process that doesn't include Hamas? Where is the process?
Well, we have to stop forcibly expelling Palestinians from their homes in villages throughout the West Bank. We have to crack down on settler violence, and we have to say out loud that we're committed towards a peaceful, negotiated solution with Palestinians.
Family. So with that being said, right? He just told us, right? He just told us what they're doing. He just admitted that they're actually expelling these people out of their homes. All of the settler violence and stuff that they're doing, he just admitted that they are doing that in the land. So once again, this is what's causing this stuff. And then once again, when all of this stuff is over with, the guy just made a perfect point. You think that people in Gaza are really on? They gonna be even more madder. Y'all bombed and killed our people. Then y'all cut off all the water, the food, and all this other stuff. And then y'all think we just gonna be cool after this? No, it's going down, family. So at the end of the day, Hamas has already won this war, right? It doesn't matter which way they go, right? Because here's the deal, right? The thing with the Jews is, the Jewish converts, is that they know what that book say, just like we know what that book say. So there's no possible way that they can dwell in that land under a 2-state occupation. Because that would mean that what? You're not the people of the book. Because you should have all that land. But you agreed to a 2-state solution, and now you're trying to backdoor the people. You did. You're trying to backdoor the people to steal the land instead of just saying we taking this land, and this is just what it is. They're trying to use too much witchcraft and sorcery, and it's backfiring on them. So either way it go, even if they do a ceasefire, is what they really need to do. The Israelis have lost. Because you didn't defeat Hamas, and Hamas went in there and rained terror, and you did a ceasefire. If you don't do a ceasefire and you go in there, the whole region going up. So they in a lose-lose situation. No matter which way they turn, they're checkmated. Okay? So family, this is y'all update for the day. Y'all stay safe, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Shalom.